Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
We welcome you to our program. Welcome to Studio One.
I know this is a difficult question to ask somebody who is a role model for many. Who have been your role models in life?
See, we cannot have one person as our role model, because there are so many people, so many different people from whom you can learn so many different things, and we should be open to learning from everybody. As a student, I have always learned to ask questions. So if somebody will tell me respect others, the first question I'll ask is why? Why should I respect? Why can't I be mean to people? Why can't I be rude to people? What's the importance of being respectful to others? And I got the answer that unless you respect others, you will not be able to learn anything from them. Unless you respect your teachers, unless you respect your parents, unless you respect your friends, unless you respect any person, you will not be able, because you will feel, what is he going to teach me? It's like when Ravan was dying and Lakshman went there to ask him for his advice, and he was standing near his head. So next time Ram told him, now you stand near his feet, respect him, then he'll give you the lessons.
Right.
So unless we respect the other person, we will not be able to learn anything from that person. So I have learned so much from so many different people, and pointing out, I like so many things about Gandhi, I like so many things about Meera, about Rabindranath Tagore, about we can just go on, even Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lata Mangeshkar, Mohammad Rafi, so many people, and a lot of such people whom people don't know. So these are names which I can quote, which people know about, but there are so many people that people don't know, and I have learned from them. So I am very open to learning from all of them, and nobody should take me also as a role model kind of thing.
Okay.
You should be open to learning from everybody. Maybe I am wrong at some places, and you can learn it better from somewhere else.
Right. So you talk about being wrong, you talk about this openness to say, I need to learn. There's also this whole fear of failure that we've built into our system and our society, whether it's school or parents at home. We don't want people to fail, we don't want our children to fail, we don't want to fail because our parents would not like it. And yet failure, when celebrated, can teach us more than learning. How does that work?
See, that's what I said, that failure can harm you, but success will destroy you. It can destroy you. Handling success is much more tougher. So failure is okay. We will have failures in our lives, and there's a statement I had made that unless you are willing to face 1,000 failures, you don't even deserve success. So you should be willing. Maybe you will get it sooner, but you should be willing to face 1,000 failures. That's more important. And see, the reality of life is that if you succeed, a lot of people will come forward to claim their role in it. If you fail, even your parents will not take the blame. They will say, we always used to say you are a failure, you will fail, kind of thing. Even they will not take your blame.
Right.
So if the blame is going to be yours, the decision better be yours. Why should you fail at someone else's decision? It's better you fail at your own decision. Sometimes people say what you are trying to do is difficult, you will fail. I'll anytime prefer to fail. In my chosen path, I'll anytime prefer to fail. I'm not afraid of failure in my chosen path.
Navin, regret is something which invariably plays some part in our lives, and however much we say, I'm optimistic, I look forward, some little thing, we have some regret at the back of our heads. In terms of regret, does that play a role? Is there anything you regret?
See, sometimes somebody comes and says, I'm worried. So I say, does it help? If it helps, let's all sit together and worry. So same thing about regret. The question is, does it help? If it is helping, let's do it more. If it is not helping, let's not do it, kind of thing. So I am very clear that regretting about something is not going to help me in my life in any way. I should carry the lessons from it. We should always carry lessons from our past and not regrets. Whatever I am today is a sum total of all the mistakes I committed, all the wrong decisions I took, and all the right decisions I took, everything that I do. So the credit goes to the wrong decisions as much as it goes to the right decisions. So why should I regret it? And if you want to be happy, you should not be regretting anything. If I'm given a choice, I will live the same very life again. I will take the same decisions again, even if I know that I am going to fail again in them. I will run the same obstacle course, even if I know that I am going to fall again. I have no regrets in my life, and that's how I prefer to look at my life, because it works for me.
Okay.
Basically.
So you speak to a lot of young people, you help them discover themselves and basically share your story with them and your thoughts with them. What are some challenges that you commonly come across when young people share their stories with you?
See, one thing is that I am not too obsessed about the truth or being correct. I don't claim correctness. I don't think I need to, and or the truth. I don't claim the truth. A person who knows the truth is usually not very eager to tell it to other people. Also, is not very eager to preach to other people. Like they say, the extra sugar or advice should be only be given if somebody asks for it. So, when somebody very willingly comes to me, wants to learn something from me, and then I put all my efforts and do my best whatever advice I can give to that person. But if I see that that person is not taking it, then I stop it. So I don't, because it's not humanly possible. It was one of the first lessons of wisdom that we learn in school, that even God can only help those who help themselves. So I am not God, and if God cannot do it, definitely I am not in a position to do it. So I can only help those people who are wanting to be helped, who are eager to be helped, or willing to take that help. So I do that, and I'll not be able to help every youngster. I'll not be able to help every person. Yes, those who are willing, I'll do my bit to help them. That's how I look at it.
Okay. So when you see the context of young lives today and the context of your youth, do you find a difference in the circumstances they are facing today and the challenges of this modern economy and the modern world than you did?
See, I was talking to a director of an educational institution, an engineering college, and just in normal conversation he said that these students have so many things, they have the latest facilities, they have so much, and still they think their life is difficult. I said, actually their life is difficult, because when we did not have all those things, it was easier to focus. Having all these things and after that focusing becomes more difficult. If you have all those, even now I have to put in efforts to not be attracted too much towards social media and other things. I have to work really hard to keep my focus.
Right.
So it was easier for us to keep focus. The life is more challenging in current times, and the student, and especially when we were kids in school, our parents used to say, study, nahi to bhuke maroge. If you don't work, you'll not get your bread and butter. So now food is not an issue. That time the issue was how will you get your food. Now the issue is how to avoid food. so the situation has completely changed. So in this situation, to work hard when everything is available to you is much more difficult. Right. So they face a much bigger challenge, and I tend to fight with people who say the current generation is not good, or point out some mistakes or that immorality or something. I said completely, what was happening in history. Women were being abducted, raped, killed, murdered in battles. They used to be abducted, and how women were treated. There were no women's rights. There were no law. People could kill anybody and get away with it. The history was not good. So the current generation is good. I believe the current generation is good, and they want to do a lot of good. So I believe in the current generation.
Absolutely, very well said. In fact, to also believe that we look at them as being privileged, but they're also deprived of some things which could have actually helped them go further. So they need greater support, and they need greater, I think, not wanting to use the term role models, but different opportunities than those which were there earlier, because their contexts are different today.
Exactly, and the biggest challenge is that it's the age of marketing, and what is being sold in the media to the younger generation is a large number of wrong examples. People getting fame by creating some controversies or different kind of activities.
Right.
And a youngster who is working hard will feel, why should I not do that? Why am I working hard?
It's a shortcut, actually.
It's a shortcut.
Why should I work hard?
Yes. So having those, because sometimes youngsters ask me what is right or what is wrong. I say the right will always take time, and the right will always take efforts. It can never be achieved in a short period of time. So that is how you can identify the right, and they should be willing to put in those efforts. and again the same thing, that you should better be known as doing something good, for doing something good, rather than getting the fame by wrong means, by other means. This idea that is being sold, that there is something called as an easy success, is
Dangerous.
a challenge. Yeah,
right.
that's what the youngsters have to understand, that it doesn't work that way. You have to work hard.
Right. You have written your story very beautifully, and I think with a lot of straightforwardness and honesty, and the book is doing very well. What inspired you to write? Because I know it took a long time to get you to put this down on paper.
It took about 8 years to get the storyline correct. Now writing is not about self obsession. Nobody is interested what my favorite number is, or favorite color is, or other things. If I am writing, it should be something which the reader likes. He has something to gain from it, something to learn from it, some experience to gain from it, and that should be my main aim, rather than narrating my story, kind of thing. So that's how I look at writing. And like recently somebody sent me a poem, and a lot of difficult words, even I had to refer to the dictionary. My language is not that good. So I said, you have used too much of English in it. So she said, people will not appreciate it, they will not be able to understand. She said, do you write it for people? Of course you write it for people. If you want to write it, keep in your room. Why do you want to have it published? Why do you should always keep in mind that it's for the reader that you are writing, and that should be in your mind. And so that's how I look at my writing. That should be my aim behind writing that book. And when I was satisfied that yes, this is, I don't want a million copies sold, I don't want a million reviews for my book, but the reviews that I get, there will not be a single review which will say that my time was wasted when I read this book. It was not worth it.
And that is so true.
And
everybody who's read your book has always taken away something for their own personal lives from that, and that is the power of that. And I think the simplicity with which you communicate, and that has also come through. You also write, Navin, Hindi poetry, and would you like to share some of that with our audience today?
See, poetry is a very wonderful medium. Sometimes people say, why rhyme, why those words, what's the beauty of that thing? And I'll first give you an example of a poem by Harivansh Rai Bachchan. Directly, indirectly, somehow these people are my gurus, because I have read their poetry as a child. So one of his poetry, नन्ही चीटी जब दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पर 100 बार फिसलती है. I even hear Bollywood actors speaking it, and they don't speak it right. Even Amitabh Bachchan is my guru in some ways as far as diction is concerned, but I have even not seen him recite the way it should be, and I feel that it should be recited this way. नन्ही चीटी जब दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पर 100 बार फिसलती है, मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है, गिरकर चढ़ना चढ़कर गिरना न अखरता है, मेहनत उसकी बेकार हर बार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. So it is the way you recite the poem that is important, and that decides how much. Now again the same thing. What's so great about reciting this poem? It fills you with energy. It fills you with that energy, and that will only happen when you recite it that way. So maybe I'll recite a few lines from one of my poems.
That will be wonderful.
There's a poem called Karma Yudh. So it goes something like this. राह है कठिन बड़ी परिस्थिति विरुद्ध है, राह है कठिन बड़ी परिस्थिति विरुद्ध है, जीवन है ये युद्ध है, ये युद्ध है, ये युद्ध है. राह चलते मिट गई आस वो तू नहीं, कदम तले जो दब गई घास वो तू नहीं, समय से पहले बुझ गई प्यास वो तू नहीं, आंधी में बिछ गई कपास वो तू नहीं, विराट एक वृक्ष तू शक्ति से समृद्ध है, जीवन है ये युद्ध है, ये युद्ध है, ये युद्ध है. So
beautiful, really lovely. I think that's really lovely.
So that is my endeavor with my poems, that a person reading it should feel good, speaking it should feel good about it, and that is in fact one of the most important lessons. Maybe I am answering it without you having asked me that. Prophet Muhammad was asked that how do people get rewarded, how much work they did. Rich people can person can feed a lot of people, but he said no, not that way. How much work you have done? What was your intention behind doing it? That is important. And if you say the main shalok of Gita, karmani eva adhikarahate, karmanyeva adhikaraste, it is not karm karo. Karm karo is karm kuru, palasya chinta ma kuru. Karmanyeva adhikaraste is karmani eva adhikarahate. Ki work is your only right. You can only work, and your work should be your intention. You know, knowing that the fruit is not your right, you should not get disinclined towards your work.
Okay.
So basically, both the meaning is same, that your intention is the main thing behind doing. So if your intention is good behind doing that work will come out good. If a parent's intention is that I am bringing up this child because I want to bring this life into this world, give him an opportunity to become a good human being, to live his life, then the intention is good, the parent will be happy. But if the intention is that this child will take care of me in my old age, or if he will make me famous one day,
So the agenda comes in.
Then he will be discouraged, because then he will feel whatever, even if the child is able to do something, the parent will not be happy, because he will feel it is not enough. So it's always whatever you are doing in your life, always see what your intention behind doing it is. If intention is good, the result will be good.
This is a question which is often asked to gurus, to parents, when we are struggling and we are disappointed with life, saying, what is the purpose of life?
See, there is no greater purpose of life than living it. Having a greater purpose in life is the obsession, the arrogant obsession of man, because we are not satisfied having an ordinary purpose. You know, we want a great purpose, like fighting for God, as if God cannot fight. You know, we are only going to do it for him, you know, or to sell him, or to propagate him, or something, because we want that, although we are insignificant, you know, kind of thing. Still, we feel that, you know, we want that bigger purpose to live our lives, to feel better about ourselves. So I feel emotionally I am strong enough to not need that. You know, I don't need a bigger purpose to live my life. My whatever job I am doing is purpose enough for me to live my life, and I am happy with that. So this is about it. Besides that, whatever purpose people want to assign themselves, it's up to them, you know, what purpose they want to assign to their life.
True, well said. So Navin, that was actually the purpose of this program, was of course to get to know you better, to use this medium to share your strengths and your learnings with the rest of the world. But also one purpose was to allow this audience to interact with you. And they're all waiting. We have a live audience over here, and I'm sure there are questions. The young ones are excited.
So Navin, like you said, you know, you are the focus for happiness, and so when it comes to our younger generation, and when it comes to people like us, you know, who are yet to get to a status and define, and you know, we're growing in our careers, the question is, how do I find a meaning in my life which will keep me happy? Because if I see, you know, our generation as youth generation, small little things like partying around and social media and putting my selfie seems to be important, which, you know, as we grow up, we know that, you know, the older generation does not really relate to it. They're doing a lot of things which are far much more meaningful. Today coming to your show was also about, you know, finding that meaning. So how will you guide us to find that meaning in our life?
See, I personally believe, I'm 44 now, and I am like a teenager. I always add 1 year to my life and say that. You know, I never try to say it less. And I personally feel that the more senior generation should not treat themselves as all knowing, you know, godly figures and all that. I believe the current generation is more equipped and more adapted, more aware of the current world scenario to deal with it than the senior generation is. They are in a better position. In our times, even if there was an empty can in the house, we used to keep it, that it will come useful, handy in something. And this is an age where people change furniture, you know, every year or something like that. So the times have changed, and these people are more, I feel, more equipped to deal with today's world than we are. So I don't take myself as knowing better than them or more than them, but yes, where I feel I can contribute my 2 cents, I do that. And I think that much, only that much of a role means the elder generation should not feel much superior about themselves, over youngsters, and it's we should respect the younger generation. So that is how I look at it. Where I can do a little, I do that. That's about it.
Good evening, sir. My name is Manish Kumar from World Class Skills Center. So my question is that everyone, whenever I meet up with the surrounding, everyone says that I live a very royal and a very good life. But sir, moreover or more or less, I see that in the separate, they thought that what is the meaning of life? The life is nothing to us. So sir, my question is that according to you, what is life and how can we live the life? Just the life gives us happiness lots. And what the necessary steps should we have to take? Because in India, it is very common that the generation gap is much more. So sir, I want your opinion on that.
See, generation gap is everywhere. There is no place where generation gap is not there. That will always be there. Now, as you are talking about life, we live in an imaginary world. Like Ghalib said, कि दिल बहलाने को गालिब ख्याल अच्छा है. So we see, we imagine things, that something. Life is what is existing in front of us. There is nothing beyond that. There is nothing. There is no before. There is no after. Let's accept that. Let's be emotionally strong to accept it. We are not willing to accept our own end, our own very perishable nature of life. So we try to create stories around it to feel better about ourselves. This is it. This is life, and that's about it. And in the entirety of infinity of time and space, this period of time has been assigned to you, which is unique to you, and that is more than that should be. We should not want that entire time for us. Whatever has been allotted to us is good enough. That is about life, and this is life. Secondly, what we decide to do in life, what we want to do in life. There is a very simple criteria, simple test that you can see. If you are aiming for the wrong thing, you will not feel good at the end of it. You will not be feeling good doing it, or at the end of it you will not feel good. And if your intentions, the thing which you are doing, what you have chosen is good, you will always feel good about it. Like my aim in life is to acquire knowledge and experience, and it always enriches me, it always makes me feel better. Again, that good and bad thing, I say, see, usually the bad things are those which you feel good while doing them, and the good things are those which you feel good after doing. If you eat oily food, junk food, while eating it you are feeling good, but after it you are regretting, I should not have eaten it. If you drink alcohol, while drinking it might be a pleasure, but after it you would be regretting, why did I drink, kind of thing. Whereas if you eat healthy food, if you have taken something light or something healthy, what you required, the whole day you will be feeling good. If you are exercising and you develop a certain amount of fitness, you will be feeling good for a longer period of time after that. While doing the exercise, maybe you were not, but later on you will. So those are the good things which give you, and that pleasure, that happiness is a longer lived thing. So it's very easy to decide whether you are on the right path or not. Like if you are after money only, of course it's a certain amount of necessity is there, but if it's your only goal. If it is fame, even Shah Rukh Khan is not happy with the amount of fame he has got. Even Michael Jackson was not happy with the amount of fame he got. Somebody asked him, what if people, don't you feel that if you go on the road and people would not recognize you? He said, I will go into depression if people don't recognize me, because he's not had sufficient fame still. So we should at least realize that fame and money should not be, when we have evidently seen that cannot be the only aim. So it's very easy to decide whether you are on the and till the time you try to achieve for yourself, you will be restless, because you can never have enough in this world. Nobody ever has had enough, so you definitely will not. And as soon as you start doing it for others, you will feel happy, because even a little is enough. Whatever little you do for even if you smile to somebody, even if you have a good intention towards somebody, even if you meet somebody with good intentions and with the good energy, you will feel good about it. So that should be our aim in life.
Question is how to get patience. I mean, in life, for success, you must have patience. So how to get it?
See,
Tanisha. So my name is Tanisha.
See, you reminded me of a quote long back I read. God give me patience and please hurry. So patience is something, again, all these things are not something you just get like that. If it is something where you are enjoying the journey, you would no longer need patience. You can wait for it, you know. So, whatever you are doing, if you are studying, you should be enjoying studying. If you are working hard, if you are running, exercising, whatever, you should be, you want to enjoy that path more than the goal. There are lakhs of athletes who try to get the gold medal, but only one of them reaches there. It does not mean that the rest of all of them should be disheartened. They should have enjoyed that entire journey. I have not played football for one of those major clubs or countries or something, but football was one of my favorite sports, and I have learned so much from it. So, I have enjoyed playing football. So, we used to play in the house also, you know, anywhere we got an opportunity, we used to play football. So, you should be enjoying doing whatever you are doing. If it is only at the end of it that you are going to get happiness, it is a very risky proposition. I feel an athlete who has worked for that gold medal and invested so much in it, and then at the end of it he is discouraged because he did not get it, then it was not worth it ever, you know, to have gone on that path. So, you would not need patience, you should just be doing things you enjoy doing.
I don't have a question, but I have to share an honest feeling. Actually, like most households, my household also has a television where many inspirational talkers and channels come. They come in very many channels. Whenever I watch them, I usually tend not to agree with them, and I talk back to them, and making myself a laughing stock amongst my family members. But here, I have been listening to you for such a long time, but there is not a single word which I could disagree. Thank you very much. It was really inspirational.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And yes, Navin, on behalf of thousands more, thank you so much for something which was so truly inspirational, heartfelt, and I think you bypassed and cut all the clutter for our communication, went straight from heart to heart, and also to guarantee you that not only did we agree with it, we are going to implement a lot of that in our lives. Thank you so much. It was really a privilege to have you in the studio with us. Thank you from Studio One.
Thank you, ma'am. My pleasure.